direction. Just look around and find at least something good. All you need will come to you. I'll never end your stare.
Welcome to the Two Canadians at Kafe Lise podcast, a Vigor podcast that we're coming up with right on the fly right now to talk about Vigor, obviously, and some of the things that we enjoy about the game, maybe some things that we think in the future could be improved. But it's just a place for us to talk about Vigor and share it with you and get your feedback and get your feedback on it, and that'd be great. Hope you enjoy it. I'm Dr. Anton. I stream on Twitch. With me is DJ Spencer, who also streams on Twitch.
Hey, how's it going?
And this is our first episode, releasing it here in mid-November of 2020. Season 6 has just come out, and so we figured this first episode we will talk about all the new changes that have shown up. You may have seen some of these changes already if you're already playing the game. If you're interested in the game and you want to know what the game is more about, then some of these changes may not mean as much to you. But just knowing that the stuff that we're talking about is new to this season might help you, get interested in the game and really want to check it out for yourself. The game itself is currently, as of this time, on Xbox and the Nintendo Switch. In about 11 days' time from today, when I'm recording, which is November the 14th, they're going to be releasing the PlayStation 4 version, which is going to be on the 25th of November. And so that's going to be on 3 different consoles, and so it's growing. We really love the game, and yeah, we just wanted to share that with you. So we're going to talk about all the different changes that have happened for this season, and then we're going to touch maybe on one. Each of us will talk about a little bit about some of our favorite changes, and then at the end we'll also maybe touch a little bit on some things that maybe have changed that we don't necessarily agree with. Not to tear the game down or anything, because we love the game, but everything can always be improved, or sometimes an improvement doesn't necessarily make something better. So at the end, we'll just touch a little bit on that kind of thing. But I hope you enjoy. So I'm going to let DJ start with telling you about some of the new changes.
So obviously with the new season, we have a new battle pass, a bunch of new cosmetics. Personally, from the cosmetics, I honestly think Season 5 had better ones, especially for weapon skins. I really like the weapon skins. A lot of them were nice and shiny, and like chrome plating and stuff like that. Really nice. But really, this battle pass, I kind of like the goalie masks. Those are kind of cool. Now, there's also some new weapons. There's the sawed-off shotgun. There's the RPK, and the sniper, the new sniper, the ZA M76. None of these weapons I don't think I've actually tried any of them yet. I may have picked up some parts in game to craft some, but I have not actually used them.
Yeah, and the RPK is the new light submachine gun, or not submachine gun, light machine gun. LMG. The M76 is the new sniper. Yeah, and obviously the sawed-off is a shotgun.
Yeah, and I've never been a big shotgun fan to begin with, so for me to actually try it out, I don't know. I might do it probably off stream, so I don't embarrass myself.
I do have a challenge to go out with only a shotgun, just like you have a challenge to go out with a pistol on our streams. So I'm sure I'll get some use out of it for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'll definitely be cashing in some channel points to see you run those.
Yeah.
Another big change, obviously, is the addition of the new map Anakin, which previously was called Islands and it was used for eliminations. But now it's been fully developed into an encounter map, which is nice. Um, but one thing that I really like, not just I like Anakin, but I like the fact that they added the night maps for every map within the
That's
game
right. Like a
itself.
new night
Um,
mode that can be on any map. Yeah.
yeah, and like it's not that dark. Like it's beautiful the
No.
way that they created with the moonlight and the aurora borealis. It was a concept that Bobby Sanchez came up with a while ago, and the devs actually took it into consideration and added it into the game. I think it's been a great addition. I like the fact that it's not too dark, where you don't require like a night vision or flares, or like I've seen a number of suggestions like
Right.
that. But honestly, it's a nice touch to have night maps without requiring all those additional tools,
That's true.
right?
And it also it's sort of, yeah, it's a night map. It's not too dark, so you can easily see around it, but you do get, concealment at a distance, right? Because if you're at a distance in one of these night maps, you're definitely harder to see. So it's not like the clear day maps where you can see almost across the map if you're in like a map like Canton, and you can see for a long distance, as long as your computer as your console can render it. That is. Um, yeah, it's almost like the day maps that have the fog, right? So you're
Mm-hmm.
at a distance, it's a lot harder to see you. So at night, it's the same kind of thing. You still have good visibility around you, but then at a distance, you're a lot harder to see. And I like that. It's sort of in a way it can protect you. Um, if you're especially if you're the type of player who likes to loot instead of necessarily shoot a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and like what I really like too is like there's some attention to detail where um, like the fake or not the fake glint, but the glint from a scope is actually brighter at night because obviously like you'd get the reflection from the moonlight and it would because it's dark you'd actually get a brighter
Yeah.
sound, right?
Yeah, for
So
sure.
to me that's a nice little touch that they've put in
Yeah,
there.
and I know, I think I'd seen in a chat on one of the another streamer's channel, someone saying, "Well, why is it glinting when it's at night?" But the thing is, yeah, the people don't really realize it, but when a full moon is out, that is a tremendous light source, and especially if
Mhm.
you're in a northern climate. And I think Norway, that this game is set in, is a northern climate, just like up in Canada we are too. So their nights can be quite bright, even though they're dark. And so when you get like a reflection of that kind of magnitude, it's like a focused light that'll hit potentially hit your scope. It could give you quite a thing. Now, whether or not they're fully taken into the refraction of the angles or not, who knows? It's a game, but
Yeah,
the fact that it's a clear night, it's a bright moon, I can totally see it.
yeah, it's nice little touch. And like you said, it'd be kind of interesting to try it out. You go into an encounter and you face one way, like directly against the moon to see if your glint would be brighter as opposed to if you had the moon to your
Right,
back,
right,
right?
yeah,
But it'd be something to
yeah.
try out. Um, Another addition to the maps is the disruptive tower, which is essentially a giant jammer, but it covers a bigger area, and as time goes on, the radius decreases.
Yeah. And
So that I'm not quite sure how to use it properly, but I could see some people using it
and
effectively.
and it does
Anyways,
seem like they always have, it always seems to be somewhat near the signal tower. So if you throw it up, I think at least for a short time, the signal tower is going to be useless. At least until it's out of the radius of the disruption tower. And that's what it appears to me. I'm not sure if it every time I've seen it or not, it's always been close by, but it seems like more than often than not, it's near a signal tower.
Yeah, I think it's close. Like, I don't think it's ever been within the
Yeah.
radius of each other, but it's been like basically like side by side where they're not actually like overlapping.
Right.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But yeah,
I'm
I
not
can
sure.
see.
Okay.
I'm trying to like I'm trying to remember, but I can't recall ever. Like, I've used it probably 3, 4 times at
Yeah.
this point, and I can't recall ever seeing the radius itself cover a signal tower. But again, I haven't used it a whole lot, and it's still fairly new. And same thing, watching other streamers, I can't say that I've noticed it yet.
Right.
So, uh, we may be mistaken. It's new,
Yep.
so like everyone's going to have to
It's a
learn
learning,
and
yeah,
figure
learning
this stuff
experience
out.
for sure.
Yeah. Um, so that's it for maps, I believe. Now, uh, we could go over shelter editions. They put in new collectibles,
Yep.
which uh, I like. However, me being the type of person that sees there's something you need to collect, I need to now go out and find them
Yep.
all. So I like it, but at the same time, I finished finding all my lighters like maybe a month ago. So it's just something new to
Yeah.
find.
Yeah.
So far I've found 2 or 3, I
You're
believe.
doing better than I am. I
But
haven't found anyone. I found locations of record players a couple times now, but I haven't found the records yet. Yeah.
oh, because they were looted
Yeah.
previously.
I'm assuming they
Okay,
must have been. Yeah.
yeah. Well, we did play that one duo match where we found it on Anakin, and I was the one who found it, so I picked it up.
Okay. There you
I wasn't going to share it.
go. That's
So,
fair.
sorry.
Yeah.
um, so yeah, the within the shelter itself, um, the record player is where the crafting table used to be, I believe, in season up to season 4, and then they moved it down in season 5
Oh, that's what
to
the people meant
the
when they
armory.
say the crafting table used to be there. Because I'm like, the crafting table was never there for me because I started in season 4. So like, what are you talking about? But I see what you're saying. Because not in season 4 and season 5, it was more like a big workspace, like a table, kitchen island kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. So there was a table. The crafting table used to be there, and then it got moved into the that bunker
Right.
space, which I guess you could call it the armory or the weapons
Right.
shelter.
Yeah.
Um, which coincidentally, that is where the scrap bin is now located as
Yeah.
well. Um, which, like, it kind of makes sense because it was always next to like a crafting table, I
Right.
guess.
Yeah.
Oh no, wait.
Well,
Yeah, because they got moved to the basement.
it was in the
Trying to think
basement,
now.
beside another bench that you would use for something, um, for shelter upgrades. That's right. It was beside the bench that you used for shelter upgrades. So that bench, when you
Okay.
click the X for it, would take you to the shelter upgrade area, whereas the bench that's
Yeah.
in the weapons armory shelter area, when you hit that one, that takes you right to crafting and equipping weapons and ammo and consumables. Right.
Right. Yeah. So that got moved, um, which it's like I had a nice little path, through the house where you went
Yeah.
and collect everything, right? And now it's like, oh, now I got to take a little
And if you're
detour.
thinking of it in
But
how it does it make sense, because I don't know if it does, because that produces metal, and the only thing you use metal for are shelter upgrades. You don't use it for weapons at all. Um,
oh, that
yeah,
is true.
so it's almost like they moved it, but I don't know what their thinking was. Maybe they're thinking, oh, we're moving it here because it's for metal, and you're going to craft weapons, but weapons don't use the metal; they use the generic materials.
Yeah.
So,
But if you're crafting weapons, there might be leftover metal,
and maybe that's the thought
like
in
in
real
real life.
life.
In real
Totally,
life,
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely, yeah.
Um, what else is new in the shelter? There's exciting news. I love the fact that they added the game to the little arcade. I was so excited, and then actually last night I was playing the little arcade game, and I actually beat the AI for the first time. So I love it. It's
Yeah,
fun.
it's a cool little addition.
Someone had told me, yeah, it is a nice little addition, and someone had told me because I've always wondered about the little Rubik's
Yep,
cube, right, on the
yep.
main floor. And someone had told me, I don't know if this is true, but apparently at the beginning, the encounters used to take forever to like find a game. So they actually put in the Rubik's cube to kind of like let
Oh, as
players
a way
do
to
something
pass the time.
while they were waiting for the matchmaking.
Oh, I never thought
Exactly.
of that. Okay.
So now the arcade is there. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I guess if you are in an area where it takes you longer to get a match, that is definitely something that you could do. I never thought of that. Like, we're lucky, at least I find I'm lucky. I don't usually have much problem with queue times. I think the only time I've ever had issues with queue times, it was sometimes going into the featured map would take a little longer than going into when the maps were random. I always found that the random maps were always quicker than the featured map, and sometimes going to something like the shootout or the maybe even the eliminations sometimes took longer or take longer. I
Yeah.
haven't actually been in them this season yet.
Yeah, I think shootout's the one that takes the longest
Yeah,
out of all the modes. Um, I've never been like a huge fan of it. I prefer eliminations, but myself. But honestly, like the game is based on encounters,
yeah.
right? That's the main thing. Um,
And the only time I ever went into shootouts was mainly if I was a little short on food for the week for getting the additional crates.
uh,
I would go into shootout to try to get the additional food I need without having to worry about what map I'm going to hopefully get the food I want. Yeah.
smart. Um, and then there's a couple of guitars around the shelter too that you could play. You could prompt and you could play them. And oh, I guess we didn't mention it, but the record player, you could actually play the records that you do
Then it's
find,
a really cool feature.
which is
Yeah.
yeah. It's I don't know if you've noticed some of the names of the albums, but
Well, I've only
I'm just
yeah,
gonna
I've only got the
I'm
one.
gonna let you go have a look after
Okay.
it.
I'll definitely take a look. Yeah, because well, as you start season 6, they give you all the bigger ambient music as different songs you can that'll play on the record player. There's maybe half a
Yeah.
dozen of those, and then they give you one new like original. I don't know where the song's from, but one new actual song that'll play, and I find it's quite good. I really like the song that they give you, but I haven't heard any of the other ones really yet.
Oh yeah, the I think two out of the three I found like I really
Yeah.
enjoy. Uh, they're just like there's a nice build up to them, and uh, it's not quite hype music, but it's nice to listen to.
Right. Cool.
Um, now, what's next? I guess we could talk about um, changes within the game. Um,
Yeah.
well, we could talk about the airdrops,
Yeah. Yeah,
which
that's right. They
they
changed
tweak.
airdrops. That's right.
So in solos now, we're back to having just one airdrop or one crate within the
Right.
airdrop, which I like that idea. And even though I don't play a whole lot of duos and trios, and I know you don't play a whole lot, I like typically we duo
Yep.
together. But I know a lot of people who have played trios have been calling for it since they've changed or they introduced trios. Was the fact that there was only two airdrops within,
Yeah.
or two crates within the airdrop,
Right.
and now they've introduced three drops
Yeah.
in
And
the airdrop.
I had
So,
heard, and I don't know if I was confirmed, that it only has 3 in the airdrop if there's a trio in the match. Um, I
okay,
think. And so if it's duos and lone wolves, I believe it's supposed to be that there's 2 crates in the airdrop, but I'm not 100% sure on that. And if there's a trio, at least one trio in the match, then there should be a third. But I don't know if that's true or not. I think that's just something I
um,
had heard.
That would be a nice
It
little
would
touch
be,
though,
yeah,
because it makes sense,
yeah,
right?
for sure. And then I think another thing I just wanted to quickly mention, when we're talking about maps, they had last season there was a new map which was called Sawmill. This season they renamed it. It's still Sawmill, but it's renamed to Zagbrook, which must be Sawmill in Norwegian, I'm assuming.
Ah,
Yeah.
yes, yes, that is
And
true.
around the shelter, just a couple little things. I think they added in lanterns. Like, so is that new? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there's like, so little parts you'll notice these hanging lanterns around the shelter give you like a little nice light in that particular area. So just little ambiance things which are kind of cool. One
Yeah.
thing that's going to touch base into some of the changes in the game that you're probably going to mention, um, in the game, I'm just going to take this one. They gave you they've given you the ability to open windows from the outside, whereas before you could only open a window from the inside. You could close it from the outside, no problem, but opening it was only from the inside. So in the game, it takes longer, but you can open a window from the outside. They've done that in the shelter as what they've done. They changed it in the shelter so that if you want to open one of the openable windows, it takes a long time, like as if you're opening it from the outside in game, if that makes sense.
Oh,
Yeah, I
really?
noticed that. I went to go collect some rat meat, which is right near that one window that has the telescope in your shelter. And
Yeah.
it's one of those inevitable things. Sometimes you go to hit the rat meat, but then the selection changes to the window by mistake, or just because you're just at the wrong angle, and you'd open that window instead. Now it starts to open that window so you can stop, which whatever, it's a window in the shelter which has absolutely no effect on anything. But
Yeah.
it takes the same amount of time as if you're opening it from the outside in game. So I just thought that was a little odd. Um,
Uh,
why they made that change, who knows? It's not a big deal. It just I just noticed it and it's like,
yeah.
okay, that's a little weird. But yeah, um, and the lanterns. So yeah, that's all I really had to. I just wanted to quickly mention about some of the cosmetics that they've also changed.
Ah, okay. Oh, actually, I just found it on the season 6 announcement. So you're right. It is. It says, speaking of trios, if
Okay.
there happens to be at least one of them in the encounter, an additional crate will be added to the
Okay, good.
airdrop.
So I wasn't just talking out of my ass. I actually heard it somewhere and it was official. Okay. Good.
Yeah. Um, Now I'm trying to think anything else. Shelter wise, I think we've covered
I think so.
everything. Um, so I guess we could talk about additions, other additions to the game. As you mentioned, I love that nice little touch of, you could open windows from the
Yep.
outside, and like you said, it makes sense to take longer from the outside because you're essentially breaking into a
Yeah.
house, right? So
Right.
it shouldn't just be swinging them open. Um, I've also noticed that there's houses or buildings where the doors actually spawn with them open, like the
Yeah,
doors are
and it's,
open.
it's it's a little unnerving at first when you first try it because you get in there and you're just like these doors are open. Is somebody already here? And it's like it makes you a little like takes you aback. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like, I'm pretty sure you keep track of spawn points, and I know I do.
Yep.
So I know, like, if I spawn next to a house, I should be able to get there first before anyone else. But then when you show up, there's doors open. It does creep you out
Yep.
because you're like, how is this even
Yeah.
possible?
It
Like,
shouldn't be. It shouldn't be.
um, yeah. So that too is like, if you think about it, you're in post-apocalyptic Norway where there's probably abandoned houses
Yeah.
and people just they just took off, or someone's already looted the place and they just left the doors open, so it does make
No, it
sense.
makes sense, and it gives it a bit
It,
more variety, I guess you could say. Yeah.
yeah, and it was an unexpected change too,
Yeah.
right? Because no one expected that, right? So uh, that's a nice little
Yep.
touch. What else? For consumables, they've added decoys, which mimic gunfight,
It's neat.
which I think it's pretty
Yeah.
cool. idea. And I've noticed that they depending on the weapons that are within the lobby, it'll actually change the audio
Oh,
sound
okay.
of what is being
That's
fired
smart.
from them. So yeah, I'm like, that's pretty cool. And I haven't seen a whole lot of use of them, but I have seen a few streamers like use them, and you know, they didn't camp, but like they use them as a flanking maneuver or something like that, or a way to reposition themselves.
Right. Sure. Okay.
Um, so I think it's a great tool.
You could really get
Now,
tactical with them
in
for sure.
yeah, exactly. It's another tool that players can
Right.
use.
Yeah.
So and then another addition to the consumables is obviously the armor,
Yeah.
which is new. Um, there, I can't say I've encountered a whole lot of players wearing armor yet,
Right.
but it's still early in the
Yeah.
season. And yes, you could find it within the barred house in the safe. Um, but at the same time, like, people might not have had the crafting plan yet from the battle pass.
Yep.
Um, I believe from what I've seen today, the Vigor partners received the battle pass
Oh, okay.
codes. So the giveaways have
Oh, nice.
started. Um, if anyone's looking for a premium battle pass, check out any of the Vigor
There's a lot.
partners.
Yeah, there's quite a few, and they're all pretty really excellent streamers and generally good personalities. So, do recommend checking out any of the them. As far as armor plate goes, I've only used one I found in match because I don't have the plans yet either. Um,
Yeah.
and it was effective. I don't know. I can't remember where I found it. It was on Canton. I just happened to pick one up, and okay, I have it. I'll use it. I threw it on, and it was a duo with DJ here, and we got into a fight with somebody, and it definitely took a bullet for me. Like when I finished, it depends on the type of bullet you're hit with and how good a shot it is. It'll absorb like uh, it doesn't absorb headshots, so if you get hit in the head, you're going to die regardless. But if it's a really powerful shot that would say kill you even in a body shot, the armor will take it all, and then the armor will be gone,
Yeah.
but it will save your life. If it's a glancing shot or if it's a less powerful shot, then you might get 2 or 3 hits out of it, and it definitely absorbed a shot for me. So it did its job. It was kind of cool actually. Yeah.
Yeah, and from what I've seen, like the new sniper rifle,
Yep.
if you get hit in the body, it takes away the armor in one
Yeah.
shot.
For sure.
Some of the other stuff, I believe the new RPK, that was, I think it was 2 shots and the armor was gone. But yeah, it all depends on like distance and uh, the damage dealt by the weapon itself,
Yeah.
which makes sense. I like it. One thing I did notice, um, when a bunch of the partners were doing the showing off the preview
Right.
builds, um, it was just the behavior of the plate itself or the armor itself. So let's say the armor was down to say
Okay.
10%, okay, and uh, we'll say 10% is 10 HP,
Yep.
okay, and then say you get shot with a weapon that does 25 damage. Okay. If you got shot, the behavior that I witnessed from those preview builds, instead of doing 25 damage, so 10 from
And
the
then
armor,
15 to you.
and then 15 to the actual
Yeah.
HP, it would just wipe out the plate or I say plate, but I mean
The armor.
armor. So it would wipe out the armor. Now I'm not sure I like that.
Yeah, it does seem a little
I
overpowered
think
that way. Like they didn't give it any bleed over. So yeah, you're right.
yeah,
If I think I saw that too. If no matter what kind of gun you're hit with, no matter how much is left on that armor, it'll just absorb the whole shot regardless of how strong the shot was. Yeah.
yeah, and I think I'd like it doesn't have to be the same amount. So if I go back to my example,
Right.
you know, 10 HP, or yeah, 10 hit points on the armor plate, and then another 15 for HP. Maybe they could tweak it where it's, say, 10, whatever is left on the
Yeah,
armor, and then maybe a percentage, because maybe the armor plate would take certain amount of, or reduce the amount of damage dealt.
sure. Yeah, yeah,
So like maybe say instead of the full 15, it'll, reduce half of it. So, you know, the Outlander would lose 7 HP instead
yeah.
of
But
15.
I do agree with you. It would be nice if there was like some bleed through. Like if you got a really damaged armor plate, and it saves, you get hit in it one more time. Yeah, it would make sense that you would take some damage from that, even if it's not the full damage. You should. I would think. Yeah, I think you're right. It should bleed over for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I know I saw a couple of people within chat in the preview builds when they announced the armor, that saying it was going to be OP and like it was going to be ridiculous, that everyone's going to bring in like a ton of them. But I think the way they did it, where like if you bring in one armor plate, it's taking one
Yeah,
slot out of your inventory.
one
So
armor,
I
one
don't
slot. You're
see,
not going to carry a lot of that.
no, I can't see people, like, unlike portables where I could see people carrying in, like, portables stack, what is it, one slot? No, you could,
No, I think you can have up to three. Is it? I think three in a stack, maybe.
yeah, you could, yeah, so you could stack like two or three or
Maybe
four
even five.
portables. Like,
I'm not sure.
I've never done
Yeah,
it,
I've never carried
so
that many in. I carry like one portable in, and that's it. Yeah,
yeah. So it's like, so I kind of like that idea where they limit it to one
yeah,
spot in your inventory, right? So I don't foresee it being so overpowered, and it also doesn't just instantly apply. Like it takes you, like a couple seconds to actually put it
yeah.
on.
And
So I kind of
I'm not
like it.
sure what the weight is on them too, because it might be that they weigh quite a bit. So if you had a whole inventory full of them, you might just be so weighed down that you're just barely moving along. I don't know.
I think someone had done like a little
Yeah,
experiment where they put on an armor plate and they tried to see if they ran any slower within the preview build, and it didn't really affect the
I was thinking
timing.
more of how many you're carrying in your pack.
Right, right,
Yeah,
right.
like how much weight it adds to
Okay.
you when you're carrying it in your pack. Because as you're picking up stuff, as you're picking up any kind of loot you're finding, you start to get weighed down, right? So
Yeah.
I was thinking that these armored plates might weigh you down quite a bit. Like if you're wearing one, it may not be as noticeable as but if you're carrying a bunch in your pack, that could
Right.
maybe make a difference. I have no clue really, so I was curious.
It might drain your stamina
Yeah,
more.
yeah, maybe whether or not they've done that, I guess we'll see. Time will tell. Yeah,
Yes, definitely. Um, Trying to think if there's anything else in game that I could think of, but I think like
yeah.
I don't have
There's a
anything
yeah.
else
There's a few things I
jotted
could
down.
touch on. Um, they have okay. Well, this is not really in game. It's more of a shelter thing again. They've they've added a couple new crates. So you before you had a gray common crate, a green uncommon, blue rare, purple was your military crate, and gold was your special issue crate. They've added two new blue crates. One is called the resource crate, and one is the weapons crate. And those primarily seem to come with your daily challenges. So daily challenges in the past would give you varying rewards. Usually it would be like a gray crate. One of your challenges might give you a common crate. One might give you some crowns, and another might give you a weapon. Now it seems to be just these types of crates. You either get, one or the other, or sometimes a mix of both, or a few crates depending on the challenge. So they seem to updated daily challenges to just be rewarded with these new crates. So that's one of the that's another new change they did. They've added car alarms. So sometimes if you go to loot a
Oh
car,
yes.
alarm could go off. And not only does it just go off, if you look at the map, there'll be a little symbol showing that there's a car alarm going off right here. So that's
Yep.
that could be used either way. It could be that someone's going to know where you are and come get you, or you could use it to maybe pull people in if you're the kind of person who likes
Yep.
to try to ambush people. Um, they've also given you the ability now. Last season, was it last season they introduced it? They introduced a thing. Or maybe was it season 4? It might have been 4.1. They introduced a thing called Team Killer, so that if you were in a team with somebody, like a duo in season 4, or even a duo or trio in season 3, if you killed your teammate, whether on purpose or by accident, you would be designated a team killer, and everybody on the map would know, oh, there's a team killer. There's a little symbol showing where the team killer is. People could try to maybe go hunt the team killer. But that's something they had maybe even since season 4 and in season 5. Um, but now they still have that, but they've now given you the ability to take team killer status away. So if you were team killed, you have the option of saying, remove team killer status from this person. So that's something they've added. And
Yeah.
they've changed the death cam. So previously, in the previous seasons, if when you were killed, if you're especially in solos, if you were killed, you would it still tells you who killed you, but then in the previous seasons, you would then be watching that person. So they killed you, you'd be able to see what they're doing. If you wanted to, you could watch them for a little while and then leave. Now you see somebody random. So it still tells you who killed you, but then it'll send you to a random camera on somebody else. And you can cycle through all the different people on the map who are still on the map. So that's
Yeah.
something new too. In duos and trios, it'll still send you to a teammate,
Yeah.
but on solos, it sends you to a random camera.
Yeah. Yeah. I like the fact that, again, not that we play a whole lot of duos and
Yeah,
trios, but like in duos and trios, you could actually cycle through your teammates now.
yeah. So if you're in a
So
trio, you could see both. You could see either or of your teammates. Whereas before, it would give you one of your teammates, and that's the person you're watching. You didn't have a choice. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. And like you said, I for the solos, I'm going to pretty much assume that it's a bug that they probably know about and that they're probably going to
I
fix.
have a theory, and it's not based on anything. My theory is that they're trying to maybe get rid of some of the toxicity. So you get those players out there who they kill somebody and they run up to the body and start doing rude gestures
Oh,
or whatever.
yeah,
So I'm almost thinking, and this might be just me thinking that they're trying to be altruistic, but who knows, is that the devs are trying to make it so that um, they're trying to limit that, so that as soon as you get killed, you're not necessarily watching somebody do something bad to you or flip you off or whatever. Um, they're trying to maybe reduce the bad sportsmanship that's out there. That's just a theory. I don't know if it's true, but it's possible.
I, I think I don't know. I would like to think it's a bug because I think more people are upset with the fact that it doesn't bring you
The
to
person who,
who
yeah.
killed you.
And
Uh,
I had somebody
yeah.
recently tell me on my chat that it could also be exploited. Um, and here's how they, I don't know if they saw someone do this or if they heard someone else talk about this, but if you're of the means that you have both an Xbox and a Switch, Switch and Xbox players can still get in the same lobbies. So if you're running the game on both and you try to queue up in solos with both at the same time and happen to get into the same lobby with both of your players, both accounts, this person's theory is you would take your Switch character, get it killed right away, like either jump off something or whatever, so that he's dead. Now that Switch can cycle through all the players on the map while you're on your Xbox running around knowing where everybody is and being able to see what they're doing. That I don't know. It seems like a lot of work.
Yeah, I think
It
that's yeah.
seems like a lot of work for very little gain. Um, it is definitely something that could be a potential problem. if there's a lot of people doing
Yeah.
this. The same thing, and it doesn't have to be Xbox and Switch. I guess you could have two Xboxes side by side and do the exact
Yeah.
same thing. The PlayStation players could do it too, in theory, with two PlayStations, but that's what
Yeah.
that's it's. I guess it's potential to be abused, just like anything. How often that's going to
Yeah.
happen, I don't know. That takes a lot of dedication to have two accounts, trying to sync them up at the same time, get them both into the same lobby, get one killed off, and hope your other one doesn't get killed off as you're trying to get the other one killed off. It's
Yeah.
just
I think it's a little, it's reaching quite a bit.
and I do
Uh,
see that it could be done. No, it
yeah.
definitely is something that can happen. I just don't think it's going
Yes.
to happen a
Yes.
lot because I think it just take a lot of work just to
Oh yeah.
get that one potential scenario going that you
Payoff.
have. Oh yes, I know where everybody is for
Yeah.
this match. Yeah,
Yeah. The payoff doesn't seem worth
the effort.
the pain
Yeah,
of trying to get that
yeah,
all done.
exactly. For sure. Um, but yeah, I think that covers all of the new stuff. Yeah, the crates and the car alarms and the death cam. I think that pretty much covers it. Yeah, and to be able to remove team killer status. So yeah, that's the majority of what's new in season 6. If we missed anything, let us know in the comments. Um, yeah, we'd like to hear from you. Um, Now we're just going to quickly talk about: is there anything in this new season? I was originally envisioning that we would talk about what we really like about this season, but I think as we were talking about this, I think it came clear some of the changes that if we really liked them or we're just so about them. I think we made that got that point across a
Yeah.
bit. So I think we'll forego just talking about what we really like right now. Maybe in the next episode we'll try to touch base on one particular thing. Um, but now maybe I was thinking we could just talk about anything that we maybe have issue with, or we think that could be improved or changed a little bit. So how about you, DJ? Do you have anything that you think in this new season that you would like to see different?
Um, would I like to see some new, different, or different things? Um, I, I honestly think they've done a great job.
Yep.
Um, there's a lot of good things that happen with this new season. I think a lot of people were disappointed that they canceled the 5.1
Right.
release, um, but they focused on season 6, and I think they did a great job. There are like a few bugs.
Yeah, there are
Um,
little glitches.
like I've
Yep.
noticed, yeah, like I don't think there's anything too game breaking. Like your car alarms that you mentioned. I've noticed a few times where like people are halfway across the map and they can still hear them, and
Oh, okay.
there's sometimes too where the car alarm. My understanding is that they're supposed to only go off for X amount of time, but there's been times where it's been nonstop.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So people thought that might be a bug, um, but like that's fixable. It's not
Oh,
anything
sure.
major. Um, the biggest bug that I've found, and it's actually gotten me killed once on
Right.
stream, um, is I don't know if you've noticed this, but you're going through your inventory and you're picking up items,
Mm-hmm.
but then it gets to the point where it appears that you have two item slots
Right.
available, but you go to pick up an item and it says, nope, you're full.
Yes.
So there was one point where I went to, I think there was some fertilizer by Pawns on battery, and it said, nope, you're full. You need to do something
Yeah.
about
Yep.
it. So I go to my inventory and then I start deleting, weapon parts, I think, because I had just picked up something from Car
Sure.
Park, and I got shot in the head.
Oh.
And it's like, oops. Otherwise it's like it would have been a quick, snatch and go,
Sure.
right? Otherwise, but
To be fair, I guess you could
yeah,
have been shot in the head even if you were actually full and you had to get rid of something to pick something up. it's but yeah, I've noticed that a few times myself, and not just once. It's been a few times where I'm going through picking up stuff, and yeah, I have a dead inventory slot. It's like there's nothing there, and no clue why. And so yeah, I'm having to delete things just because I have this one slot for some reason I can't use. So that's definitely something that's showing up more. Yep.
Yeah, and it's funny you mention it too because I've had it happen a few times where it was either one slot or two slots that
I
weren't
hadn't
working.
noticed two slots, so that's even worse because I've only seen it where it's one slot so far. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So in my mind, like that right now is the biggest bug that I've noticed or I've
Yep.
encountered. Um, I'm trying to think what else. I did mention um, the changes I'd like to see in the armor plates
Yep.
um,
Yep.
previously. So that is something that I would like addressed,
Hmm.
or uh, I'm very curious as to when the next dev stream will be because
Yeah.
I'm like any other bigger player. Um, we love the dev streams,
Yep.
right? Love getting the info. We could ask questions. They don't have an opportunity to answer all of them, but it's a great way to interact with the community. So it'd be interesting to see if there will be one coming up soon. I would assume there will be one, and it'd be kind of nice to see if they go through their thought process about the armor plates and other new things in season
Sure.
6.
Yeah. I don't know when the last one was. I don't know if it's been a while since I've seen one. It is nice that they do the dev streams, and it seemed like they used to be fairly frequent. I don't know how frequent it was, if it was every few weeks or so. But I can't think of when the last one was. But it could be that I may have missed the last one. I don't know. But it was a nice, yeah. It's definitely something that when they do have another one, we'll talk about it here for sure. But yeah, I'd like to hear some of those thoughts as well. I think my biggest thing, it has to all sort of centers around this team killer thing, the status. Like there's been talk, lots of people have bandied about different solutions to team killing. Now, team killing was introduced at a time where you could have random duos. So you would say, I want to queue up for duos, but I don't have a partner. I'll get a random partner and just play with anybody. There are people who really enjoyed that. I was never big into it. If I'm going to do a duo, I'll want to do it with somebody I know. I don't want to just randomly duo with somebody. I've never been into that. Um, and so they introduced team killing because there was a problem with people getting teamed up and then one person killing the other, and at first maybe taking their stuff or whatever. So they introduced, okay, you're now a team killer. If you do that, everyone's going to know where you are. And then some people relished that. So yes, I want people to come at me so I could kill them or whatever, right? So that was like a whole thing. Then the next season, I think it was in season 5, they got rid of random duos. So you would almost think at that point they could have gotten rid of team killing, but they didn't. They made it harder because um, team killing could also be used as a way to get dupe sometimes, or to get stuff from people. If you team killed, you could get all their stuff, and if they had insurance, they would get their stuff back, and then you would have their stuff. Um, and so team killing was still a thing. So they, it still had the team killer status, and then they made it so that team killers could not loot the bodies. So they made it team killers could not loot their kill, but in trios, that just meant that the other person who was in the team could loot that person, the third person. So it didn't really solve anything. It made things just weirder. And now they've made it. There's still duos and trios. There's still a team killer status added if one of the people kills the other person, whether on purpose or by accident. But now the person can remove the team killer designator so that they can be looted or and they can't be seen on the map. And to me, that just seems
Yeah,
like, okay, well, now they just made it so that it's totally going to be exploited, because now
yeah,
people can freely say, "Oh, I didn't mean to kill him," and they'll take off the thing. They'll be able to loot the body, and it's just going to open up a whole world of problems, I think. So that's the
Now,
only thing I don't really like about what some of the stuff they've done.
I'd have to I'd have to go back and see some of the like preview build
Hmm.
streams that some of the partners did because I seem to recall you couldn't loot the body if you even if you removed the team killer um,
No, and
flag to the
I'm pretty
person.
sure when they were doing testing, I can't remember if it was Rex or somebody else, that I
Yeah.
was pretty sure they could, but I'm not
Okay.
100% sure on that. I thought they could loot the body after removing Team Killer.
They could loot the
Yeah.
body.
Oh, you know what?
Okay.
Just to backtrack a little bit, one thing we forgot to mention, and it's something that we haven't even used yet, you can heal your teammates now.
Oh
That's something
yes.
that's new.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that. You can, if you have meds, you equip them, and you go up to your teammate, and it'll give you the option to heal your teammate. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah. And actually like I again because I don't even we don't play like duos trios very
No.
often. I never think about
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
And honestly, the streams that I've watched, I want to say that people forget about it as
Yeah,
well.
it's gonna be one of those things
That
that people are gonna have to remember over time, and then eventually it'll get used more. But at first, everyone's just playing with the new guns. Everyone's just doing their thing, totally forgetting that it's a feature. So I'm sure eventually people will start
yeah,
thinking about it. Oh, hey, wait, I got meds. You're hurt. I can heal you now. It'll come to them. It'll just take a little time.
yes. And it should be noted, you can't share armor plates.
That's right. It's only meds.
So and yeah,
Yeah.
only meds, only heals. You can't apply armor to a
No.
teammate.
No.
But yeah, I understand where you're coming from about the team killer thing. Uh, I want to say they had good intentions
Yeah. Yeah.
with it, but I kind of agree where I think it's just going to be something that's going to be
Yeah.
exploited.
And I've seen other.
Now, I don't want to go through the whole thing
Yeah.
of what the people exploiting it are trying to
No.
do because I don't want to
No.
promote it. Uh, but yeah, I just think it is something that will probably be
Yeah.
exploited. But I don't I don't think there's been a single partner, from what I understand from the preview builds that
Yeah.
I've seen, say they agreed with this change.
Okay. Yeah.
So hopefully, and I don't think the community either would agree with the change
No.
either. So you
Hopefully
know,
they write it, like they reverse it or something.
yeah,
Yeah,
yes,
because I know there's been people talking about, it's a hard thing to try to solve, the whole team killing, even if it's accidental or on purpose, right? There's been people saying, well, they should just get rid of friendly fire. But no, no, like you can't, because then you're just
no,
exploiting another way to be exploited. People running in front of their teammates to protect them, and not, their teammate can't accidentally kill them. I just see it as another thing to be exploited, and there should be
yeah,
consequences if you're not paying attention to where you're going or where you're shooting, and you accidentally kill a teammate. There should be a consequence to it. There shouldn't just be oops,
yeah,
or you don't take any
and
damage from my bullets. Yeah.
and I think a big thing too with Vigor is the intention has always been to be as realistic as
Right,
possible,
for this type of game, sure.
right? So it again, you're not going to run in front of you know, your fellow Outlander. You're not going to run in front of him while he's shooting someone
Yeah,
else in real life.
exactly.
So to me, it makes
Yeah.
sense. Um, I know not everything in the game is realistic, but
Yeah.
again, they're trying to go just like Escape from Tarkov,
Hmm.
right? They're going for as realistic as possible.
Yeah,
So
given
you
the
know
limitations of the medium, really. Yeah,
exactly,
for sure.
exactly.
I think that's a good place to stop for this, our first episode. It might be a little longer than we anticipated, but it's not too bad. So hopefully you enjoyed it. You can find both of us on Twitch. I'm Doctor underscore Anton. This is DJ Spencer 1981 on Twitch. I'll put
Yeah,
our links in the description below, so you can find us on Twitch. We also we also have Twitter accounts and other other social medias which we can you can reach us at, and we'll make sure to have little links to all that kind of stuff for you. But yeah, thanks for listening. We will be back next time with a new episode, and it won't be as maybe quite as long as this one because we won't be going over all the new changes for the season, but we'll try to condense it down to talking about a couple little topics for the next one. But again, I'm Dr. Anton, and this is
DJ Spencer.
and thanks for listening, and be safe out in the Outlands. Talk to you soon.
Bye.